So, Wonder Girl, you'd be surprised how relatable that Tidus turns out. You just have had less than an hour to actually relate to him. Give him time. Like, you're judging him after having known him for less than an hour. And as I said, this game is not amazing in its characterization. I'm going to admit that to begin with. Yeah, he's a popular jock. You are absolutely right. And those are the only facts you know about him, and now you're judging him based on those facts. By the way, welcome to the best character in the game.
Blitzball. Hey, you okay? Hey!
Admittedly, I like Tidus mostly because I like his voice actor. Well, yes, Wonder Girl, this isn't... The main storyline of Final Fantasy X is supposed to take you 80 goddamn hours. You have seen Tidus in action for less than 30 to 45 minutes. Give him time. Like, you are judging the hell out of this character. Oh no, believe me, I love Tara Strong. I love her as a voice actor. I love James Arnold Taylor more than I love Tara Strong. But it's mostly because James Arnold Taylor is my childhood. Tara Strong is childhood for a lot of other people. And I do love her. I love a lot of the stuff she does, but Tidus is my childhood. Yeah, that Mooncrest. We're gonna be using that real soon. The joke there is that the Mooncrest is an end-game item. I will not be using that for 80 hours. I'm going to keep on saying that, and you're going to think I'm joking, but nope, that's... Well, no, I'll be using the Mooncrest within 30, because I know what I'm doing, but... I just don't want to ever have to go back and pick up that chest again.
Yo. Hiya.
So the reason I say that Tidus is my childhood is that not only is
One more time.
not only is Tidus like Tidus, which I played Final Fantasy X when I was a kid, but James Arnold Taylor, among other things, also plays Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, which was also my major childhood. Avanius, the crests, you will see me pick up a lot of crests, and it's not easily missable, Wonder Girl.
You know amateur.
I just, Zero Base, I have no problem with Chocobo racing. I have a huge problem with lightning. And I will actually not be completing the lightning minigame.
You say again?
I don't, Chocobo racing's easy.
I meant,
Yeah, and
forget that.
that's not a missable item.
I got too close to sin. And
I just don't want to come back and get it.
like. So I don't know where this place is, or even where I came from.
You're judging Final Fantasy X really, really hard for stuff that you should not be judging it for, because they don't... The things you're judging it for aren't actually things.
All right, back to practice.
By the way, Waka, who, as I said, is like the best character,
Coach and captain of the Besaid Aurochs brother.
is played by the same guy who plays Bender from Futurama, among other things.
What? You hungry? Okay, back to the village. I'll get you something.
Okay, so Tidus right now, of the things that you know about right now from Tidus, is that he is, yeah, there are a couple, like, missable, like, treasure chests that you can miss, but, you know, that's about it. There is no truly missable content, but there are things you can miss that you will wish that you didn't, just because it's a pain to get them. So Tidus, what you know right now. Number one, yes, he was a jock. That being said, he is a jock in a extremely hard-to-play game. Two, his father was also important in this game, and also people talk about his father more than they talk about him. Three, we know he's young. Four, he has now lost everything he has ever known and is in a place he doesn't understand. he should be fairly relatable now because all of us have had something that we have been pretty good at. Most people know what it's like to be in someone else's shadow, and also most of us know what it's like to be completely out of our depth. That's all you know about Tidus right now, but they've given him a lot of stuff to relate to. Let's go follow Wakka.
I felt like I could trust this Wakka, so I just had to ask. It's true Xanarkand was destroyed, right? 1,000 years ago? So it's just a big pile of rubble now, isn't it?
Long time ago, there were a whole lot of cities in Spira. Big cities with machina, machines to run them. People played all day.
Yeah, I mean, it is
the
extremes.
machina do the work. And then, well...
And here's the fun thing, Wonder Girl.
Sin came and destroyed
This is the fun
machina
part.
cities.
It
Xanarkand
makes
along with 'em.
sense.
Yeah, that was about 1,000 years ago. Just like you said. If you ask me, sin's our punishment for letting things get out of hand. What gets me, though, is we gotta suffer because of what some goofballs did way back when. Of course, we must always repent for our sins. That's important. It's just that it's hard
First
to
game
keep
sets
at
stuff
it
up.
sometimes, you know?
Number 2, I think, is better.
It was just as Riku said. Wakka and Riku couldn't both be lying. Why would they?
When you, Wonder Girl, when we get to Endgame, you will understand a lot more about Tidus.
Hey, I'm
And
not
actually,
saying
as
that
we
team
go
never
through the
existed, yeah?
game, you will understand more and more about him.
A team living in luxury like that be pretty soft, eh?
I appreciated the fact that Wakka was trying to cheer me up. But at that time, all I could think about was everything that happened to me. All this started with Sin. Maybe if I could find Sin one more time, I could go home. For now, I just live life until that time came. No more worrying about where or when I was. Sure, it was hard not to think of home, but I started to feel better already. A little better. Maybe.
Okay, give me just a second now that cutscene's done. I'm going to try something real quick like. See if doing this maybe causes less frame rate problems. So that is currently Tidus's assumption is that if we find Sin, he could bring us back to Xanarkand. That is the thing he is currently working on.
It's this way.
Which zoo? The first one or second one? Because the first one, you're forced to blind.
Huh?
Oh, the wild ones?
Good idea.
I'm probably going to farm them for a short bit to build overdrive. So, and the only overdrive mode I have right now is damage. So, I'm probably gonna not blind them so they can build overdrive for me. Because I want overdrive for Blender Boss. Okay. So now we get introduced to Wakka. Wakka is our second playable character. He will be with us for the remainder of the game starting now. So Wakka's thing is, he's a couple things. Number one, he is a stat bot. So Wakka has a bunch of abilities that use stats effects. Some of them I'll use, some of them I won't. Some of them are useful, some of them aren't. I'll probably forget to use most of them. Dark Attack inflicts darkness. So accept all been sub. I'm going to 100% except for one specific item. There's one specific item I will not be getting. It is one, because I will not get this particular item, there is one other item I will not get. So there's these only two items I will not get, and I'll tell you what they are right now. That way Super Base knows what I will be doing. I will not be getting the Lunar Sigil. I will not be getting the legendary weapon for a single character. And the reason why is that the requirement to get the legendary weapon for this character is, it's ridiculous. I've never done it, and I never will, because it is it's anti-fun. Like, it is, I will show you what it is when we get there. I will tell you it's not frame perfect. I think you have 3 frames, if I remember correctly. Something like that, 3 to 5 frames. But yeah, it is 200 3 to 5 frame inputs in a row without missing. If you miss one, you restart from the beginning. Oh, it's frame perfect packs 20. Okay. I did not know that part. And I just don't have the attention span for it. It takes about an hour. And I refuse to do it. So, and also the item it gives you is not good. So, that is the only thing I will not do. I will do everything else. So just to point something out, when I say let's make it to Penance, so my title in this, I will be doing Jack Shot. I'll actually get it the first time we are able to. We will get Jack Shot. I will also get, I will probably get Jack Shot too. I will not level Blitzball to 100. I'm only really doing Blitzfall for Waka to give you an idea, but, that is still a lot of Blitzball. But, so Penance is the literal final, or not final boss. He is the optional boss. He is the hardest boss in the game. Many people consider him to be one of the hardest bosses in Final Fantasy history, if not the hardest boss in Final Fantasy history. You have to beat pretty much every other boss just to get to him. Every character must be leveled not only 100% the sphere grid, but you also have to custom level the sphere grid to make them even more powerful. See, Super Base disagrees with me, but I have never fought Ozma, so your mileage may vary. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is we will do effectively everything, and I will still show you the minigame that I refuse to complete, I just won't do it. Okay, so Waka throws a Blitzball to attack. I was always kind of curious why Waka got this instead of Tidus, because I feel that Tidus should be the one to attack with a Blitzball, but... See, I haven't played 9. I have every Final Fantasy available to be in hard copy on their original console. Or most of them, but... I mean, Penance also can do that if you're not using the strategy I'm gonna do. I mean, remember, Penance, every time his main body gets a chance to act, instant kills your entire party and cancels re-raise. Including his own extra turns? Okay. That's a little bit excessive. You can like both, I promise. Part of it is just the fact that I love Final Fantasy X. Of the Final Fantasies I have played, this is my favorite. It is one of my favorite games ever. That's why I've beaten it and played it so many times. I will have to pull up a guide eventually for some of the stuff I have to do. But I will not have to do that for quite some time. I mean, Super Base, you're not wrong, but 100% chance of party wipe that is not stoppable if he uses the move. Also, the fact that you must be 100% leveled, you must have ribbon, you must have... Waka is very powerful. Yep, Mako, we're doing it again on PC. Yeah, effectively, Avanius, you got it. Why am I... I'm not gonna speed up. So, Avanius, so what we're talking about, when we talk about this item, the item that, I refuse to get.
You want me on your team, right?
So, the legendary weapons in Final Fantasy X require 3 items. It requires the weapon itself, which is gettable. The different weapons require different things to get them. So, it requires the legendary item itself, it requires a sigil, and it requires, I forget the other item's name. It's sigil and...
Then you can go back to your old team, right? It'll be fun. What do you say, huh? Come on, come on.
Sigil and crest. Thank you. Thanks, Base. Sigil and crest. Typically the sigil and crest, and also the mirror, but we'll get the mirror eventually. The location to activate the mirror. Blah 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 blah. But these 3 items are required, plus mirror, so technically 4 items, but you only need 1 mirror.
The only 2 things that Spira and
These
Xanakin
3
have in
items, the
common.
weapon, the sigil, and the crest, are used to create what are called the
wasn't too
celestial
far off
weapons.
either.
In the game, they're the ultimate weapons, legendary weapons. You can name them whatever you want, because different games name them different things. Each of these weapons has unique abilities that can't be gotten any other way. They automatically break damage limit.
10 years, and we never won a game.
I can give it 5 attempts as soon as I get there. It's just not going to happen.
I quit. Time seemed right.
So each of the legendary weapons allows you to break damage limit. They allow a certain other thing to break damage limit. They also have an effect that causes you to do more damage under certain situations. Like, one allows the character to do more damage the lower their health is. Another says the character does more damage the higher their health is. That's a passive effect that you can't get any other way. So the weapons are useful. The problem is that the actual in-game content will be completing.
Hey, hey.
So basically, I was trying not to name characters we haven't unlocked yet. But
So, what's our goal?
the actual in-game weapons we'll be getting will not be these. I won't be using them.
If we give it
And
our all,
the character who
walk away
gets...
happy.
Yes, but they don't know he's a party member yet.
No. If I say what's our goal, you say victory. Play in a blitzball tournament, you play to win.
Where was I?
Victory.
So the actual weapons we'll be using to beat Penance, if I remember correctly, are not the celestial weapons. I don't believe we use them for that. So the problem is the character who gets the legendary weapon that is based on this minigame is a character I will A, not be using, and I already know what 3 characters I'm using, and it's not that character. There's 7 characters total. You can only use 3 at a time, so 3 characters. So A, it's not that character, and B, that weapon is terrible. Super Base, the only reason I'm talking about Penance is that because it is the 100% in-game event, and also has 0 storyline relevance.
Be on guard. There are fiends on the road today.
After surviving your run-in with Sin,
It's the only reason I'm mentioning them.
if something happened now.
And the only reason I'm avoiding spoilers is because Wander Girl and Avanius do not actually,
Crusaders.
they don't know the game, so I'm letting them kind of enjoy it on their own.
Cruise of what?
And Mako, that makes complete sense. I'm working on end-game content in
Hey,
KH3.
sorry.
I
Don't
still
worry
haven't
about
watched...
it. I'll help you out.
I watched Bloody Biscuit speed run it to figure out what the
In
speed
return
run
for
strategies
tournament
were,
time,
but that's
make
all
sure
I've
we
done.
take the cup.
I still haven't even looked up where the final
About the
chests and
Crusaders, you can ask them
such
yourself.
that I'm missing
They
are.
got a lodge in a village.
One of the reasons I'm actually playing this is to avoid doing in-game content because I don't feel like searching for chests right now.
Besaid village.
They got any food there?
Hey, one of my favorite songs in the
We'll get
game.
you something over there later. Take a look around first. Let's see.
Zerbase, I like
Says the lodge
KH3.
is over yonder.
I don't
Usually
feel
not that
particularly
easily
let
there.
down. I think there were mistakes made in the development, but I feel good about the game.
All right. Over here.
Huh? What's up?
You do remember the prayer, right?
Okay, so if my... Yeah, you don't want to look up Final Fantasy X's endgame right now. So the thing about Final Fantasy X is that, and I've mentioned this before, but let me mention this again. The story that we're going to be watching and kind of understanding is a completely different story if you already know the ending. Like, the experience is completely different. There is stuff that's going to happen as we approach endgame that will completely change the connotation of the early game stuff that happens. So, by knowing the ending before we do it, you have a completely different experience. It's better to beat the game, or watch the game blind to begin with, and then re-watch it knowing what you're doing. So that way you know what the story was. Tidus is Sin? Tidus is right there. How could Tidus be Sin? Okay, so Super Bass was talking about affection. I believe this is an affection choice.
Of course, I'd never prayed before in my life.
Yep, sin
Not
is
that
sin.
you would know that.
You must have forgot or something. Here, I'll show you.
Well, Avanius, the storyline is not affected by Albed in any way. And I do mean that. In literally any way. There is nothing that we will learn by knowing Albed that we would not be able to either infer by watching the action or by reading what people reading people say. You can guess what Albed is saying otherwise. It is a completely puzzle-based thing. So, for example, I showed you guys the example Albed. Remember, I went and I read that thing in the very beginning in pink, and I showed you what the translation was. That is a hint for a important end game item, and that's all it is. That's all it does. Let's see. There's a specific person. I'm trying to remember if I'm allowed to talk to them now or if I've talked to them later. Super Base, can I prep the drool thing now, or is that after the next event? I can't remember. Because I got to make sure I don't miss that, because if I miss that, bad things happen. And Wonder Girl, it isn't missable. You can come back and get it, but this is one of those things you do not want to come back and get. Coming back to get that thing is really bad. So you guys aren't wrong. Like, knowing the ending is not usually a bad thing. However, Final Fantasy X, in a lot of ways, is a mystery game. You know, it's like reading Sherlock Holmes or like reading Poirot. If you know who done it, half the fun of the book is gone. And Final Fantasy X works the same way. You don't want to know the ending because half the fun of the book is learning how to get there, or half the fun of the game is learning how to get there. Okay. I'm trying to remember what I have to do right now.
Go present yourself to.
Right, that's what I have to gotta go do that. Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, don't play Final Fantasy X 2 ever. That's the point of that one. But yeah, it's very much like Sherlock Holmes. Isn't there a thing back here? I remember there being a thing back here. Yeah, it's very much some people like it, some people don't. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the gameplay that I'm upset about, it's the story.
It was them standing in that place.
Yeah, it's the magical game of the Final Fantasy series. Yep. Yeah, Wonder Girl, to give you a really good example of to give you a really good example of how important not knowing the ending is, think about what happened with Sherlock Holmes at Reichenbach Falls, and then think about what happens at the very beginning of the next book. How much of an impact would Reichenbach Falls have on you if... I think that's the name of it. You know what I mean, regardless if I got the name wrong, but I think that's the name. How much less impact would Reichenbach Falls have on you if you knew how the next book started?
Since Lord Braska became High Summoner. And finally, we receive a statue.
You should. The original Holmes is good.
Well, what's a High Summoner?
See, the problem is I don't know which books are in the Adventures, because I've read all of them.
Toxin.
Well, I'm glad I very specifically did not tell you what happens. But you should go read it. It's good.
Funny hearing myself make the same excuse over and over. Funny and a little sad.
The summoners are practitioners of a sacred art, sworn to protect the people of Yevon.
Any enemies in the series, I'm fairly certain that's false. It has a shit ton of health, but I don't think it's more than the dragon secret boss in 12.
Hear our prayers and come down to us. They are the blessing.
Do the movies do it justice? It depends on which movie you're talking about. So I actually really like the Robert Downey Jr. version, but it's a very different impression of Holmes. But one of the things worth noting about Holmes is that a lot of the stuff that people associate with Sherlock Holmes is that yeah, it's a very different game from Final Fantasy VII. Yep. One of the things that people associate with Sherlock Holmes have nothing to do with the books. You know, it's a very different thing. Okay, I think I get to go just talk to Waka now. Like, for example, like, everybody knows their impression of Holmes is the, you know, the pipe, right? And the, I forget the name of the hat is. So, hold up. So, this crap. So this crap. Deerstalker, that's it. So a lot of people are like, okay, Holmes, pipe, Deerstalker. I don't think he ever wears a Deerstalker in the entire books. It's never mentioned. The violin is. The violin is mentioned multiple times. He does play the violin. He's actually, like, if I remember correctly, he's a virtuoso at it. But, oh, Holmes is absolutely a druggie, but at the time, it wasn't as big of a deal. Like, at the time the book was written, doing cocaine was not necessarily a bad thing. Cocaine was actually in medicine. So, that's not as big of a thing. But I think that's one of the reasons I like the Robert Downey Jr. version, is we do see him, we do see Holmes in a little bit more of his out-of-control nature.
Take a nap. You look bushed.
Holmes is, not only does cocaine... Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Holmes not only does cocaine, but he's addicted to it.
You could at least go see how they are doing.
We can't interfere.
Yeah, he was a coke addict. He also, I want to say he does heroin at least once.
But it's been nearly a day already.
The problem with Holmes is that he is very likely a high-functioning autistic person, and he's addicted. So his addiction is that he's potentially bipolar as well, and that he thrives on the thrill of the hunt, and he thrives on solving mysteries. When he has no mysteries to solve, he immediately fucking crashes. And so he looks for that high elsewhere, which is where he goes to cocaine and heroin. The Robert Downey Jr. version just never talks about what he's actually doing. They make it sound like he's more of a drunk. But nope, he is very much high on something.
Waka?
Oh no, Sherlock's addiction is solving crimes. That is his addiction, and it's addressed multiple times. The easiest boss? I mean, most tutorial bosses are pretty damn easy. I don't know. I mean, one of the... See, I've never actually seen the series. I hear great things, but you're going to also have to specify which series you're talking about.
Well, apprentice summoner, really.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if you want to say that, that's very true. Yeah, he's self-medicating in order to, you know, fix the depression of having no mysteries.
Remember?
So someone is in there somewhere, and they haven't come back out.
Particular
Right,
non-tutorial boss in Final Fantasy
day's
X
already
who's a
gone by.
joke.
Is it particularly dangerous in there?
Sometimes, yes.
I mean,
Why don't you go in and help?
there are a bunch of bosses that I would call a joke. I don't know which one you're talking about.
It's forbidden.
It also depends on exactly how powerful you are.
Hey, but what if something happens? What if the summoner dies?
The precepts must be obeyed.
Like I care.
Yeah, my favorite Sherlock Holmes adaptation is House. I'm not gonna lie. House is absolutely my favorite.
Maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all.
Water Girl, he's not joking. Okay, so to recap what's been going on while we've been talking, because we're talking about a lot of other bullshit. Oh, that's what you're now I know what you're talking about, Super Base. I don't know if he's the easiest. Yes, he's easy as hell, but if you... no, I know who you're talking about. You don't have to tell me. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I knew who you were talking about. I don't know if I'd say that he's the easiest. I bet there's other bosses that are just as easy. I don't know if I necessarily agree on hatred of women. I never got that impression. But hatred of relationships, maybe. Okay, so what's going on so far is that Tidus has learned that there's something called a Cloister Trials. Someone called a Summoner is currently stuck in one, which is dangerous. Nobody else wants to go save them, and Tidus doesn't follow the rules. So now we get to the Cloister Trials. The Cloister Trials, we'll be seeing 8 of these. Something like that. They are puzzle-based things that are meant to get you... It's always... that's not true. That's absolutely not true in House. It's not always the women who are in relationships. And in fact, I'd say it's evenly the men. At least evenly. If not more often the men. House ruins every relationship he's in. He is the cause of every lost relationship and he's in. Tao ruins his own relationship by cheating. So does Wilson. Cameron and Chase have no problems in theirs. Now I'm actually trying to think of one relationship when a woman was the cause of the problem in that show. Anyways, sure. We'll leave it alone. So Cloister Trials are puzzles. So the thing about Cloister Trials is there's 2 puzzles. There is the... Okay, I might not have gotten to that particular season. So there's 2 puzzles in the Cloister of Trials. There is the first puzzle, which is beat the cloister. And then there's the second cloister, or the second puzzle, which is get the secret item in the cloister. The secret items are technically missable unless you come back to get them, but you can't get them until much, much later. And we need all of the secret items in order to unlock a thing later on. By the way, Water Girl, you're going to learn what an Aeon is in less than 15 minutes. I just have to remember how to do this. There's one missable item that is actually important. I'm thinking. Oh, they said what an Aeon is? Okay, I wasn't paying any attention. Cloister 5. Cloister 5, Cloister 5, Cloister 5. Are you... When you say... No, that secret you're forced to get. Unless you're talking about the Night Spear, which is missable, but that's not the secret item. I'm talking about the items for the first of the 2 secret ones. Okay, I need to make sure I do this right, because there's a way I could completely screw this up. Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is the Night Spear. Which is a secret item in that particular cloister. However, that particular secret item is not the required item for what's his name? Why am I having so much trouble remembering what to do? I don't know why I always have trouble with this particular trial. The other ones I tend to remember better. I'm just trying to make sure I don't accidentally... If I solve this cloister, bad things happen. So I'm trying to make sure I don't accidentally solve this cloister. Did I just accidentally solve this cloister? Where's the thing I'm looking for? There's a particular thing that I am looking for right now. Do I not just interact with this? No? No. What am I doing? What am I looking for? I got that. That's a sphere-shaped recess, but I've already put the sphere... Oh! Right. Take the spear back. Got it. There we go. No, there we go. Okay. No, pushing the pillar thing into the obviously spotlighted space is how you actually solve this cloister. The problem is, when you solve a cloister, you immediately are forced to leave the cloister, which is the problem. And then you miss the item until you're allowed to come back to the cloisters, but you're not allowed to come back for a very long time. So you have to get the secret item at the same time before you solve the cloister. So I don't want to have to come back, so I'm trying to solve it now. So the problem is, if I did push that pillar into the obvious spot, I would then proceed with the story. So I wanted to get that Rod of Wisdom first. There are, like, 8-ish secret items, one per cloister, and you need all 8 to get one of the secret rewards.
Hey,
See?
it's gotten into you. Hey, it's okay. Only summoners, apprentice summoners, and their guardians can enter here. It's a tradition, very important.
The Rod of Wisdom is actually kind of useful as well. Like, it's actually a good item. Weapons are a little bit unique in this game. 6 to get the important thing.
Whoa! Ah!
Summoners go on a pilgrimage to pray at every temple in Spira.
Pretty sure it's all 8.
Guardians protect them.
You need to have one for each. And you can't... There's an important thing opens at 6.
Well,
no, I thought that's the one you had to have all 8 for.
Might as well go all the way.
I'm thinking.
What are you doing here? Didn't think we'd be able to handle it.
No, it's just... See, I told you she gets mad easy.
M
Is the summoner all right?
Who are you?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna take me a bit. Yeah, these two characters are awesome. Oh, are all 8 required to get the 3? Is that what it is? I hope that's not your mom. Oh, okay, okay, that's what I'm thinking then. I love how Tidus and Yuna look significantly more Asian in the fully animated cutscenes than they do in the actual normal rendering.
I've done it. I have become a summoner.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
Man, was I surprised.
Wonder Girl,
And
I
here
refuse
was
to answer
thinking
that
summoners were
question
all old
for the
geezers.
reason of spoilers. I care about M. I care about M a lot. M is my favorite. Like, I won't use M, but M is my actual favorite. Okay, so, Wanda Girl, let me teach you about Aeons.
What? Ow!
Wait till you see this.
I can't see anything.
I agree with Waka.
Ready?
This is the only other time you'll hear this song that's not on the opening cutscene, or the opening menu. As I think so. This is an Aeon. You haven't been able to hear the music all stream? Damn. There's an A at the beginning of that sound. And how much does it cost? A lot of praying.
I had never seen anything like it in my life. Sure, it was a little scary, but still, I could feel a
A
strange
lot of
kind
praying being
gentleness coming from
selected
it.
by effectively the gods and some other things. No, I'm not butchering the name. We're keeping it veiled for.
I remember that night we talked for the first time. I didn't know it then, but after that night,
Here, I just upped the
everything changed.
Tell me if the sound of
For
the
everyone.
game is too loud now.
For me.
Yep, more than $1. Yeah, just
Let me
wait.
introduce you to the team. This guy here wants into the tournament so bad, I let him on the team. His memory's a little fuzzy, so don't mind him if he says anything odd. Come on, say hi.
Hi.
Hi guys.
Yep. So Aeons are just
So
summons.
what's our goal?
To do our best! Nope, we got a new goal now. Our new goal is victory! To win every match, defeat every opposing team, to bring the Crystal Cup back to our island. That's
Yeah.
all we need to do to win. Easy, huh?
That's it. Just that. Victory! Victory!
Victory! Victory! Victory! Victory! Victory! Victory! Victory! Victory!
Okay, so how is our, Why is Keepa a terrible goalie? Because he's the best shooter in the game. And his actual goalkeeping ability is very low. And also because he's not Albed. Not that I'm gonna be able to get, what's his name, Nimruk? I'm not gonna be able to get him forever. How's sound of voice? Because I'm gonna have to go edit sound to make sure you guys actually can get the sound of the audio. So he falls and cup his hands, and then she trips and hits her nose. I have no idea what you're talking about. She does have heterochromia. That is absolutely true.
You heathen!
Stay away from the summoner!
You're a bad man!
Lady Una, be careful.
But it was really my fault to begin with.
Yeah, I know that. Well, I don't know if the latest ones have it, but yeah, it's pretty
Amina,
universal.
Thank you so much for your help earlier.
Huh? I'm sorry about that. Wasn't I not supposed to...
She has
Kinda
neither been
overreacted.
possessed by an evil monster, and she is not the
no.
final boss.
I was overconfident.
I saw that Aeon thing. That's amazing.
Really?
In fact,
Do you think I can become
I will
High
bet
Summoner?
you. See, the problem is, there's the final boss and the true final
Lady
boss.
Una, come play with me some more.
There is the final boss that we're actually going to call the final boss, and then there is the actual final boss. I bet you
tomorrow, then.
that you will not predict
Tomorrow?
who the actual true final
We're
boss
going on the
is.
same boat, aren't we?
Oh, really?
We can talk more.
We'll see. You might, but I doubt it.
You can tell me all about Xanarkand.
She's cute, yeah?
Okay, so this is another one of those relationship questions. Depending on... Can I give you a hint? No, you have not seen it. In fact, the game has not even given you... The game hasn't given you a hint yet either. Sure, we'll say yes.
Don't get no ideas.
No promises there, big guy. Hey, but what if she, like, comes on to me?
That's not going to happen. If you get tired, let me know. I had a bed made for you.
So the lines there are almost identical no matter what you do. No matter if you say yes or no, Tidus will say, "What if she comes on to me?" and he'll say it's not going to happen. So it's just those two lines. We have nothing else to do tonight.
From the summoner!
You're a bad man. All right, talk to Waka. Tell him I'm tired.
Good. Sleep tight.
Oh no, it has nothing to. No, Wander Girl, it has nothing to do with that. Summoners are absolutely allowed to have relationships. The problem is that Tidus is a heathen. He did something he was explicitly not supposed to do. And, Waka... And this is not really a spoiler. You'll see this in about 3 minutes or so. Waka sees Yuna as a little sister, so he's protective.
Where's that boat?
Everyone will find us if it doesn't come soon.
I love that. They'll find us.
You really sure this is okay?
Would you take me to Xanarkand?
Do they not take their clothes off?
Hey,
I guess not.
you said you'd go with me.
But if they did, the Peggy rating would go up. And yeah, it is heresy of the worst kind for someone who is not a guardian to go into the cloister.
Yeah, so you're coming with
Guardians can. Non-guardians cannot.
Hey, stop dreaming! You with a woman? You can't even catch a ball! Oh, what's the matter? Gonna cry again? Cry, cry. That's the only thing you're good for.
I hate you.
Huh? What'd you say?
You have to speak loudly.
Yeah, guardians are not allowed in the inner sanctum, but we didn't go in the inner sanctum. We just went into the outer sanctum, which is heresy.
You can do it.
Yeah, his dad is an absolute dick. You have his dad bang on the money.
He's dead, okay? Dead.
By the way, that was a map of Spira just now. You'll see it again.
He does look a lot like Chapu. I was surprised too, the first time I saw him. But no matter what he looks like, he isn't Chapu. You shouldn't have brought him
Lots
here
and lots
in
of
the
belts.
first place.
Yeah, but he needed our help.
Excuses again?
And, yeah, Jecht is a terrible parent.
That's it. No more. Enough, Waka.
This is why, Tidus has daddy issues. Because of Jecht. Lulu is pretty awesome. She is absolutely not the best character in the game by a fair amount, but she's pretty cool.
Scary. So, who's Chapu?
My little brother, Chapu. Looked like you.
Tidus is not Chapu.
He was with the Crusaders when they...
You're not giving the game enough credit in its storyline.
He didn't make it. I first heard on the day of the tournament.
Oh, so that's why.
I became a guardian to fight sin, yeah?
Revenge?
Chapu and Tidus are not related in any way as far as I'm aware.
I'm more worried about...
Unless
the
Final
super
Fantasy
getting out
X-2
than my
changed that.
brother. Well, after the next tournament, I'll be a guardian full-time. I know it kinda looks
Lulu
like I'm
is
losing you.
the worst character in the game mechanics-wise. Without question.
Don't worry. I mean, I owe you a lot.
But her actual characterization is pretty good.
You really helped me out, you know?
But there are other characters who are just simply better.
Thanks, Waka.
Stop. You're embarrassing me.
Like, of the 7 main characters, I'd say Tidus is probably, like, 3rd from the bottom in terms of an actual character who is awesome. He gets better over time, just in total. I think Waka's the best. Character we have not gotten the party is in 2nd. Character we have not gotten the party is 3rd. I think... Maybe Tidus is number 6 out of 7, actually. Now, Lulu probably comes in at about 3 or 4. And that's more because of quality of other people more than her. Oh, no.
Hey,
Lulu is a bitch. Do not get me wrong. But
Oh, you're giving this?
she has other things
Yeah,
going for her.
Use it well.
Hey, look, the coolest sword in the game that we will not be using for very long.
That's the sword you gave Chapu.
Well, he never used it.
She does have good plot development.
Where's Yuna?
We're taking the same boat as Yuna, right? Why do we gotta wait here?
Yuna came to this village 10 years ago, when the last calm started.
The calm?
I think Lulu would be enjoyable
She's
to
been like a
play
little
with,
sister
even
to
if she
me, Lulu.
didn't dress the way she
But
does.
She had the talent. She became an apprentice. Now, today, she leaves as a summoner.
This is our journey. We should leave together. You really don't need all that.
Also
luggage.
cleavage.
They're not really my things. They're gifts for the temples we're to visit.
This isn't a vacation, Yuna.
Oddly enough, even though she has cleavage and a garter belt that's visible, the game never really plays her up as sexual.
Okay, off we go.
And I do mean that. Like, they do not play up Lulu's sexuality in this game, I think, at all. What's in the box? Souvenirs for other temples. You will never see it again. Okay. Important thing we need to do right now is turn around and go back into Besaid. If I don't do this now, I miss it until much, much later in the game. Let's see. There we go. Fun thing happened. My dog dug something up yesterday. I wonder what it was. Yeah, like, they just don't talk about Lulu's sexuality at all. Not only... Well, okay, rephrase. It's not her sexuality. They don't really talk about how, like, she is sexualized at all. No one hits on her. She doesn't use her sexuality. It just doesn't happen. She's not bad. She's drawn that way. That's really how it is. Okay. So for some reason, getting this item from this dog gives Veil 4 Energy Blast, which is its more powerful overdrive. I don't know why they chose to do that, but they did. And we want that. So we gotta make sure to get it now. Yeah, her dress has stuff going on. Okay. So now the game is going to reintroduce combat to us.
Hey, why don't you try out that sword I gave you?
The cleavage is literally for fan service. Yep. Okay. So the game is now reintroducing us to combat now that we have the majority of our party.
Not too shabby. You kept up with him pretty well. Might make a good guardian someday.
That wasn't a dog, that was a dingo. There's a difference. Okay. So
my kind of customer.
What the game is trying to introduce to us now is the concept there are enemy they do it for a reason, Wander Girl. It's because they're actually not playing it straight. They're subverting the trope. That's why they do it. You'll see what I mean. They make you want to think she's they make you want to think she's a sexual character when she isn't, to make you like underestimate what she is as a character. So what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to introduce me to the fact that that there's a couple of different... You can call it a cop-out right now. You're the one who keeps on judging characters by the way they look in the first 10 seconds you see them. So each enemy has kind of a type to them. So for example, this is a flying type. The guy we just fought was a speed type. Different types are best killed by different creatures. Tidus kills speed types really well. Waka is really the only one we're going to have for a while who kills flying types very well. You can be that harsh the entire game, but I will criticize you for it endlessly until you drop it. Okay, so we're about to get into the scripted combat in about 2 seconds. 1, 2, there we go. Okay, this is our next scripted combat.
Looks like trouble.
Watch this.
So, this is where they teach us that we can't just attack everything. Hey, look, 50 damage.
Told ya, only magic can beat that thing. If you can't beat them down, you gotta use magic of an element they don't like.
And who uses magic?
Element? Let's have our black mage show you what I mean. Lou, you're up.
Clueless, aren't you? Good thing I'm here.
Yeah, they're not forcing it. If I wanted to, I could melee this thing down.
Spells of ice work well against fire fiends, and ice fiends are weak against fire magic.
But it's so much better to use the actual type matchups.
I get fire and ice, but what about lightning and water?
Lightning and water are opposed, just like fire and ice. This one here is a water fiend, which means...
There is a single Final Fantasy character in Super Smash Bros., specifically Cloud, who's from Final Fantasy VII. Yep, Cloud is not from this game. Okay, so now that we're starting to get more characters, this screen's going to be more important. As long as a character actually does something in combat, and I mean anything, they can defend. It doesn't actually matter. As long as a character does something in combat, they will get AP towards their next S level. Also worth noting is the items. So the speed creature gave me a speed sphere. The power creature gave me a power sphere. This one gave me a mana sphere because it is a mana creature. I will need spheres in a big way very soon. Okay. So, Evanius, you will see a lot of Lulu because Lulu is actually a main character, but I will never use her much because she's the worst character in the game.
Let's get going, man.
We're gonna wait.
Huh?
Wanderio, you don't even not know how desperately I need spheres. Yeah, so she's good in cutscenes. Like she does show up a lot in cutscenes. She does have a good voice in the game. She does talk a lot. No, Wander Girl. When we talk about how much I need spheres, you saw that entire sphere grid? By the end of a standard game, you will only have completed 1/7 of it with each character. I have to complete 100% of it with at least 3 characters. And then also, I need one of those orbs that drop from those creatures for each character for each activation. So it ends up adding up a lot. You will see, especially in the early game, I will be running out of spheres very often. There's a certain point about 3 hours from now or so that I will be able to get whatever spheres I need. Okay, so remember I was talking about Albed translations? So, in the speedrun, she's worthless. Completely. Well, maybe not completely. No, I apologize. There are a couple times you use her in a speedrun, but you don't really ever use her. In fact, after a certain point in the speedrun, you don't use anybody but one character. So this is another one of those things that we need Albed for. So this would normally be, you know, an issue. Kilika and Bikanel join as one. Hey, that's a very useful thing, right? Okay, here we go. Well, they rebalanced it by giving us the ability to specify which spheres we want with those abilities. I forget the name of them. Is it Siphon? Hey, can you not attack me? Please stop doing that. Yes, this is the Guardian from before. He's being kind of an asshole. Why is he trying to kill us? If I tell you that it's never really explained why he attacks us right now, you're not going to like it. Where's everybody else? You'll see in a second. Are we done? We're done. Okay.
That's enough.
Everybody else is right there watching. And they watched the entire time. So, the actual answer to why he attacked us.
Kimari Ronso, of the Ronso tribe. He's learned the fiend's way of fighting.
That's not what I meant.
He's another Yuna's guardians.
Huh?
Sometimes we don't understand him either.
That's the game's
Kimari
answer.
doesn't talk much anyway. But he has protected me since I was a child.
So the game's answer is, we don't know, this is just shit he does. The actual legitimate answer to the question is, he does it because he's testing Tidus.